PlayStation is dead, but so is gaming. What's up, sons? It's Blind Run, and it's been a while since I've posted on this channel, but I've been paying close attention to the Microsoft acquisition of Activision and Blizzard for quite some time now, and we have some statements from Sony that really got my gears turning, and I really wanted to discuss it with you all in general. So the article I'm referring to came from WCCF Tech, and it says that Activision may let Microsoft leapfrog dated PlayStation pillars, admits Sony in a leaked document. So essentially here, what has happened is that a leaked document has come out from Sony following the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft, and they are basically stating that they'll get leapfrogged because Sony's current pillars are not really in the form of what the future of gaming will be. And that's kind of the short of it. It's a massive threat to PS Plus, expecting it could result in a $1.5 billion annual hit to the revenue of Sony from their service. And the fact of the matter is what we are looking at is a monopoly on the Microsoft side of things, in my humble opinion. And while, you know, the regulatory courts did not agree and did allow Microsoft to make this acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Microsoft owns everything now. I mean, really, at the end of the day, there's very few IPs that Sony PlayStation will maintain. And that is going to cause a lot of issues when people are picking up new consoles, because if you can just basically go on a month-to-month basis with Game Pass on Xbox and get all of your favorite titles there, then that's probably what you're going to do. Akin to, of course, what happened in the TV and movie space when Netflix was launched. Now, moving on down the line, everybody has their own streaming service and they've kind of splintered off, and Netflix has its own special content and so on, with really Disney kind of buying all the IPs up in that space. But I think we'll eventually start to see something similar happen to gaming, and I do not think that that is good news for gaming in general. You see, what we get into when we start talking about streaming services in general is that now it is about time attached to screen and the quantity over the quality of the product. And as we start to see these studios move under the Microsoft business platform, I fear that what we will see is a huge onslaught of quantity of games just getting pushed to Game Pass over and over and over again, while the quality begins to fall behind on a lot of these titles. And we've already started seeing it in the gaming industry. This year really is quite sad if you look at the actual game awards when you're talking about things like Dead Space getting Game of the Year, when Dead Space is a game from 2008 and it's a remake. Eventually, all we're going to see is low effort new IPs and big budget remakes of video games we've all already played, whether that be Halo, Dead Space, The Last of Us, and so on. So we've already started going down this rabbit hole of the incorrect direction, and I think that it's going to be exacerbated by a single company owning a lot of the IP and being able to basically pump out remakes of everything under the sun over and over again with no focus on any innovation. When I've been playing video games this year, I've played quite a few new titles as well. And what I noticed with a lot of the new titles is reused mechanics and reused story plots, etc., except for maybe forcing in some woke bullshit along the way. And so all you end up getting is probably eventually a Dead Space remake with a black female character, but it's really no innovation on the game mechanic side. Meaning, I don't really care if you're going to do like the equality woke stuff, as long as you also innovate on the mechanic side. But if we look at what's been happening on the TV and movie side of things, this is exactly what's been happening. And I think it even gets worse on the entertainment side for TVs and movies as well. Case in point being the latest Indiana Jones, where now because of technology, we can just recreate old characters. We're not going to see new characters and new actors that bring innovation to the space. And eventually that will bleed over into video games, because this is just the way the entertainment industry works. It flows from the music and movies into video games because they're all influenced by each other. And with the incentives being shifted to keep, essentially eyeballs on your app as opposed to creating good content, what we'll end up seeing is just a plethora of BS games and BS titles with some remakes thrown in there that everybody enjoys. And it'll kind of just be that recycled content over and over and over again. So not just for the sake of Sony, but for the sake of all gaming in general, I really hope that this doesn't really happen. And I hope that we end up having Sony figure out how to maintain their services, etc., and bring competition and new innovation to the space. We've already seen a lot of the innovation just fall off into indie titles with low budgets and so on, and they really haven't gotten into new games. Mostly what you get these days is Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever with a reskin over and over and over again. And every game's the same way. You go into the map, you have the same basic controls. Every character controls the same. Everybody pulls in the left trigger to aim and pushes the right trigger to shoot, and the A button to jump, and the B button to dodge, and the LB button to block. It's all the same shit over and over and over again, and we aren't getting any innovation out of it. And I really think that this is a dangerous leapfrog at the end of the day. We're going to get copy and paste of Call of Duty over and over and over again, like we've been seeing already, just exacerbated by this, frankly, poor option of Game Pass only. I love Game Pass. I think the Game Pass enables a lot of people to play a lot of different titles, and it looks good on the front, on the face of things. But when you look at how this turned out in all other streaming services, it always ends up being bad. Developers get paid less, the content is pushed out in a lazy manner, and everything turns into remakes. I'd like to hear what your thoughts and opinions are in the comment section below. I'll see you next Tuesday.